Yo, what's going on, everybody? Appreciate all of you guys for tuning in to Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, we're going to be looking at ESPN's latest mock draft for 2026, this time done by Matt Miller. Now, no shockers here with the first overall selection being Indiana quarterback Fernando Mendoza. He had the Jets going overall Reese here. I will say for this year's 2026 draft, there is no doubt number 2 overall pick. Like, it's Fernando Mendoza, number 1, and then it could go anywhere from the rest of the selections. The Cardinals going offensive tackle, and then the Titans going edge rusher. The Giants going Carnell Tate. Browns getting their offensive tackle. Now here for the Vikings, miss out on obviously Caleb Downs and Jeremiah Love. I think both those guys will end up going top 10 in the 2026 NFL draft. So if they really love Downs or Love, probably going to have to trade up into the top 10, and I think that's unlikely from the Vikings front. Now here's where the Vikings kind of get screwed, and I could see this playing out this exact way on draft day because I think the Bengals, Dolphins, and Cowboys will all go defense, and I think they could honestly all three go corner potentially with Mansour Delane going to the Cincinnati Bengals. Love Delane. And then my guy, Jermod McCoy, going to the Dolphins at pick number 11. So I don't think the Vikings will be able to draft Delane or McCoy. Both these guys will probably go pretty high up in this year's draft. But then even another run of corners here, Colton Hood going to Los Angeles Rams and Brandon Cease going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at pick 15. So you have 4 corners going in the top 15 of this year's draft. Like, that's tough for the Minnesota Vikings there. And then you got Mekhi Lemon going 16 to the Jets. And then Keldrick Folk, edge rusher, going to the Detroit Lions, which I will say that'll be a hell of a pick by Detroit as they're trying to gear up on edge rushers around Aiden Hutchinson there. So the Vikings, tough spot right here, but I love their selection. Matt Miller has the Vikings drafting Toledo safety Emmanuel McNeill-Warren. I'm a massive fan of this guy's game. I think the Vikings obviously need to address the safety position. Harrison Smith most likely going to retire. I mean, that's all said but done at this point. And, you got Josh Metellus, you got Theo Jackson, Jay Ward. You got good rotational guys, but you don't have that star. You don't have that true playmaker on the back end. And Emmanuel McNeill-Warren would be just that. And this is what Matt Miller had to say, saying there's a good chance that McNeill-Warren doesn't fall this far, which is very true. He has all the traits you look for in a safety. 6'3" with great length to eliminate passing windows and the speed to match up down the field. And with 8 interceptions over the past 3 seasons, McNeill-Warren has shown a consistent ability to make plays on the ball. And that's a good point by Miller. Like, I think this guy's an absolute playmaker on the back end. He hits hard, too. He doesn't have the biggest physical profile. Like, he's a tall, lanky safety, but this guy hits. He closes windows extremely fast, and I absolutely love this guy as a football player. He's got great instincts as well, and the number one thing about him is his closing speed, kind of hinted at by Matt Miller there. When I'm going back and I'm watching this guy play at Toledo, obviously him playing at Toledo, it's not like he's playing on the SEC level, so he probably looks a lot faster than the athletes that are around him, but still, with his combination of his length and his closing speed, this guy is an absolute playmaker. Like, the amount of times where if he's manned up on a tight end and then just running a 4-yard hitch and he's just flying down to the line, gets the huge pass breakup. I mean, that's elite stuff. Like, he has elite plays at the college football level. Now, again, level of competition. Can he be able to do that at the next level? I think he can, but that's probably the biggest question mark around him. He's got good size. I mean, some websites have him 6'2", 6'3", but just around 200 pounds. I think he probably translates more as a box safety. That's why I think he's more Harrison Smith-esque instead of like a, for example, like an Anthony Harris back in the day for the Minnesota Vikings. So I think he'll play more in the box, which obviously Flores' system. That's huge. He's also great against the run. He will come down. He will make plays. He's a great ankle tackler as well, and I think this guy would be a home run pick. Will we be there at pick number 18? I don't think so. I think a team could potentially take a reach on him because this guy just checks every box as a safety, in my opinion. Literally the only thing you can say about McNeill-Warren is that his level of competition he played against. But this past season, absolutely fantastic. 7 PBUs, 2 interceptions, had a quarterback rating allowed of 50.3. He was banged up in the 2024 season, only playing 8 games there, but he filled up a stat sheet this past year. I mean, 3 forced fumbles, 2 interceptions, 7 PBUs, 5.5 TFLs. This guy's an absolute stud, and I think the Vikings, they need to add talent to the safety room. And if you would roll in the next season with these guys, I think that'd be solid. I mean, McNeill-Warren, you have a first-round talent in the room joining Josh Metellus. And Metellus, I think he's a hell of a complimentary safety with his versatility. And I think him and McNeill-Warren would be a hell of a duo. Both of them extremely versatile, so Flores would have a field day there. And I think you would have solid backups. Like Jay Ward looks solid in certain spots this season. Theo Jackson looks solid in certain spots. So I'd like this safety room. You just need to add more talent. And if I'm the Minnesota Vikings, in round 1 of the NFL draft, I'm doubling down on their strength. What is the Vikings' strength? It's their defense. Go lean into Brian Flores more. This guy has been fantastic. He's the best defensive coordinator in the NFL. You want this team to be special? You want this team to go on a playoff run? I don't think it's leaning into your head coach. I think it's leaning into your defensive coordinator. Get this guy more talent. Because of the last couple of years, Vikings defense has been no doubt top 5 in the league. I don't think they've had top 5 personnel or top 5 talent. Let's go add a first-round pick. Let's go add a second-round pick to this defense. So I would love the pickup of Emmanuel McNeill-Warren in the first round for the Minnesota Vikings. The safety out of Toledo. This guy's a stud. And get Brian Flores his guy. You guys let me know, which side of football should the Vikings draft in round 1? Give me an O for offense. Give me a D for defense. I'm leaning defense on this one. Now, you could argue tight end, but I just don't think Kenyon Steek is maybe worth that pickup at this point, especially at pick number 18. So I'll go defense. But you guys let me know your thoughts down below. All right, coming up next year, we got a hell of a selection for the Vikings in round 2. Absolutely love this guy. He is skyrocketing up draft boards. So stay tuned for that here in just a second. But before we do so, got to tell you guys about today's presenting sponsor, and that is Factor. Now, if you guys could, head to factormeals.com/VikingsChat50 off and use promo code VikingsChat50 off to get 50% off your first Factor box plus free breakfast for 1 year. And if you guys want to eat better but you have zero time and zero energy to make it happen, Factor doesn't ask you to meal prep or follow recipes. It just removes the entire problem. 2 minutes, real food, done. And Factor is already made by chefs, designed by dietitians, and delivered to your door. You heat it for 2 minutes and eat. It's that simple. They got lean proteins, colorful vegetables, whole food ingredients, healthy fats, the stuff you would make if you had the time. And they got no refined sugars, no artificial sweeteners, and no refined seed oils, with over 100 rotating meals every single week, including high protein, GLP-1 support, and ready-to-eat salads. So head to factormeals.com/VikingsChat50 off. Plug in promo code VikingsChat50 off to get 50% off your first Factor box plus free breakfast for 1 year. This offer is only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. Make healthier eating easy with Factor. Another hell of a pick defensively made by Matt Miller here is he is the Vikings drafting Texas Tech defensive tackle Lee Hunter. Now, Tech had one of the best defenses in college football this past season, and it was for a combination of 3 guys, David Bailey, Jacob Rodriguez, and the man in the middle, Lee Hunter, which just opened everything up. Like Jacob Rodriguez, linebacker for Tech, one of the best players in college football, but his job was so easy because of what Lee Hunter did, taking on double teams, stuffing run gaps, and it let Jacob Rodriguez play free where these offensive guards couldn't disengage with Lee Hunter and get to the second level. He could just come in flying free to get to the running back. And that's what Matt Miller had to say, saying the Vikings badly need to get younger and hit on picks outside round 1. Hunter might eventually move into the first round after a super strong Senior Bowl week and could start right away as a nose tackle or a one tech. I agree with him on that. I would be shocked if he is there, honestly, in the second round, let alone pick number 49 in the NFL draft. This guy was absolutely awesome this past season. He was a big reason why Tech was so good this past year at the college football scene. And this guy, he's got fantastic hands. He's a good athlete. He's got this tenacious just nature to the way he plays, and he's fantastic against the run. I mean, 10.5 TFLs this year, 9.5 last year when he was at UCF. And this guy's been playing good college football his entire college career. And this guy's just nasty. I mean, his Senior Bowl stuff is absolutely ridiculous. And that's why I also think, like, he's going to be one of those guys where I don't know if he's going to, test through the roof at the scouting combine, because like he is a very, very good athlete, but he's not like a, Aaron Donald level athlete by any means, or like a Kalijah Kancey when he was coming out of Pittsburgh at the defensive tackle spot. But hey, get this beast in Minnesota. The Vikings need more young talent, especially on the defensive line, because listen, you got Jalen Redmond, you got Levi Drake Rodriguez. Where Levi Drake Rodriguez, I think it's like, probably profiles right now, it's like a low-end starter, a very high-end backup defensive tackle in the NFL. Tyron Ingham-Dawkins, we'll see what he develops into. But you got Jalen Redmond as well. I mean, if you could pair up Jalen Redmond and Lee Hunter, that would be absolutely amazing. I mean, Jalen Redmond and him at the defensive tackle spot, both of them can play a little one-tech. You even pop Jalen Redmond outside. And same with Tyron Ingham-Dawkins. Like, he's got versatility on the defensive line as well. So just adding a guy like this would be awesome. Now, just watching some of the stuff in the recent couple of hours, I think the number one thing that stands out for me with Lee Hunter, hands. he throws his hands so well, and he disengages from blocks at a very high level, which that translates. Like, if this guy's just bull rushing people over, sometimes that's tough for stuff like that to translate to the NFL level because obviously there's better athletes at the pro level. But having great hands, I think, is huge for defensive linemen, and I love his mentality. He's nasty. He celebrates a lot. You can see he's got a very, very high motor, and he's huge. I mean, 6'4", 330 pounds. Now, two negatives about him kind of go hand in hand. He can't get too far up the field, so if he's an interior pass rusher, which he is on most plays, he can kind of overshoot his gap a little bit, lose his gap integrity, and also on this note here too, sometimes teams were tricking him a little bit when they're running inside zones, almost like not block him, and then he'll just run up the field and miss his assignment. So there is some negatives, but like if he could shore that up with good coaching, I think this guy's got potential to be a goddamn all-pro at the NFL level. So this would be the haul for the Vikings. If they left the draft with Emmanuel, McNeill-Warren, and Lee Hunter, I think you could sure in this defense to be not only top 5, but probably top 3 next season if both these guys end up hitting. So I would do it. But you guys grade this haul. A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. I would give this an A+++. I think this would be fantastic for the Vikes. But you guys let me know your thoughts down below. As always, Skol Vikes.